All right. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Welcome to another year, 2022. We just finished kicking off day one pay-per-view for WWE. Fellas, how was your New Year's first off?
Was good, man. It was good.
It pretty much rained here all day, but I didn't have to do anything. So
yeah, it rained here too, which was great because I got just to stay home. It started raining more now. But other than that, it was great. So normally, guys, if you see us here, it's normally me and Mike over here giving our recap of every single pay-per-view. But we brought in a guest with us today. You know, you guys seen him a couple of times. He is my co-host over on Monday nights. And his name is Toe Tax. Toe, what is going on? Toe, Mike, Toe.
What's going on, Mike?
You know? So WWE finally gave us a pay-per-view here on another Saturday to kick off the new year, right? As many Saturdays as they're trying to give us, as Nick Khan said, he's trying to give us more and more Saturday pay-per-views, which is great to me because now I can go to sleep now after talking to you guys and not have to wake up early in the morning.
That's true.
You know what I mean? I can actually have a cold beer, have one in my hand. I got a Corona. It
Nice.
would not get me sick. May give me a little headache in the morning, but other than that, you know, Mike, what did you do for New Year's?
nothing. I watched some football yesterday, and I went to bed early. What?
Okay, you say you did not kick off the new year. You didn't say Happy New Year. None of this.
No.
You sound like Toe. I feel like I'm the only one that said Happy New Year's to people.
You
No, I
live
said
in
Happy
New York
New
and
Year's.
don't go to Times Square, so
I told you I would never go to time. Well, Toe's from New York too, and I'm never gonna go to Times Square to watch the ball drop because that's well, you know what? Not for nothing. We could have went yesterday because they only let 10,000 people in there, and we was watching it, and people were like scattered around.
yeah, they were showing
Which is crazy.
They were showing at like 5:00, like as many people were already there. I'm like, that's too long to just stand out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but I mean, the way they had it there, like you can easily just you could walk to maybe go get like something to eat or go to the bathroom. Not like other years where you literally was just like you couldn't go out there and you know you literally had to sit there. You had to sit there and like wear the pens just to freaking use the bathroom. And I've heard some crazy stories when it came to these people going to Times Square to watch the ball drop.
Yeah, fuck that. I think it's against the law for New Yorkers to be in
Yeah,
Times
that's
Square.
it. That definitely sounds like a tourist thing.
Yeah, man.
my-
Real New Yorkers don't like that many people around them.
Definitely not. So we got day one. What did you guys think off the kickoff? I'm surprised it even had a kickoff match just because of all the COVID related talks that they had. You know, a lot of people were out. You know, you can obviously see they could have, used a little bit more talent that they had. We had no Charlotte Flair for this one. We had no Sasha Banks. We had no Belair. Who else were we missing? We had no Finn. We had no Austin Theory. So it was a little weird to see all these people not in these pay-per-views where we normally get to see them. And then we just get like this small group of people. And obviously with the big news, leading into the pay-per-view, we had no Roman Reigns. He ended up going and testing positive for COVID. So, but the kickoff show, we had Rich Holland and Sheamus versus Cesaro and Ricochet. What did you guys think of that match?
I mean, he really broke the shit out of his nose.
Let's say Rich Holland can't get any luck on his side. He's been very injury prone.
Tell me about it.
Word.
It's like the minute you put Rich Holland in a big situation, something happens. It happens to him in NXT. He broke his leg or like his ankle, and he was out for a good while. And now you make it to the main roster, and boom, you get your nose broken.
Yeah, well, and then the fact that he's partners with Sheamus, who dealt with the same thing and wore the mask. Now, Rich is probably going to turn around and have to wear that mask.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know what? Not for nothing, it'll be good for him to wear that mask for the simple fact is like now because you're like Sheamus's protege, like of
Right.
course now you have to like go through these steps with him, like everybody else. So I would love to see what WWE is going to do with this. Hopefully, we don't get no Disney cartoon character storyline with these things, but I can't wait to see this, But what a way to start off the pay-per-view, going in now to this pay-per-view when we had the Usos versus the New Day for the Smackdown tag team titles. I thought this was a great idea to start them off first, because we all know we can always get a 5-star match when it comes to the Usos and the New Day. Whether they're the kickoff show, the beginning, the middle, or the end, they're gonna put on a freaking 5-star match, and they didn't disappoint. Atlanta, being the home of Xavier Woods, they all loved the New Day, but half the crowd was rooting for the Usos. So it was a little back and forth. I was obviously rooting for the New Day because I'm, a New Day fan since day one. But what did you guys think?
Since tonight, you was a New Day fan?
No, not since tonight. Okay, since they started.
All right. Since the first day of their career, huh?
Oh man, this wouldn't be a good start if it was their first day on the job.
Yeah, right. I mean, they always hit a house down. I predicted that match being match of the night. But it's like they fought so many times. How much new stuff can you really do? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, they know each other so well. Like, they're going to put on a good match, but like Toe said, it's like, how much different stuff can you come up with? What's going to happen? That's why I'm hoping we're going to see that Xavier Woods like singles run this year.
Right.
That's my hopes.
And Xavier Woods looked really good in this match. I remember I was talking to somebody, and I was just like, man, his cardio is, because he was doing like a couple of moves back and forth, and he looked like he was not even out of breath when he was doing all this. And I was like, shit, like, way to go. Because not me. I would have been like tired out. Like, forget this.
Word. I was getting tired just looking at him. I mean, it was weird to see that awkward 3D to end the match, though.
Yeah, that, you know what? When they ended it that way with the 3D, like the first thing that came to my mind was like, I can't wait to see what Billy Ray is gonna say on Busted Open Radio, because he's really big on tag teams, and he's like he likes to criticize a lot. So for them to use this, I don't know if maybe they got permission to say like, hey, we want to use this move, because I know a lot of talent, they'll go and say like, they'll want to get permission first before they start using somebody else's moves. So I'm really curious as to see whether or not they actually got permission from these guys to use it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good match though. Like, and they got, I guess when you cut a match like Brock and Roman out, you obviously are giving a lot of time to everybody.
Right.
Because really, outside of your main event, I felt like every match had a good pace and a good amount of time, including the pre-show match. So I'm kind of glad they didn't move that to the main card. But yeah, definitely a good way to start the show off, get the crowd going. Even if you gave the Usos the win, the crowd was still ready for a pretty good show.
Yeah, they set the tempo. They really set the tempo. It was crazy though how the other tag team match ended in like a modified 3D.
Right.
The push up into the RKO, and I was just sitting there like, yo, did they plan that, or was that just like impromptu for the Usos to do the 3D? Exactly.
That was the one thing that I was thinking about too, but I don't know. I know maybe not too many people, especially a lot of people in the chat that was, they're rooting for the Usos, but I want to see them do this again. Like, I want to see the New Day versus the Usos again. I know me and we talked about it before, and I was just like, do I really want to see this again? I think they really impressed me to the point where I'm like, man, I want to see this match again. And I want to see if these people, will the same, like, if we're going to get the same results, can they pull something else out? Can they give us something new? Is it going to be like a reversal where like Kofi's going to be the one to be all around the ring and Xavier is just going to be like his backup? Or are we going to continue to see Xavier Woods, thrive and grow, especially leading into the Royal Rumble, like this is going to be a big thing now going into the Royal Rumble, is whether or not like Ken Woods actually win the Rumble, or is he just going to be, Mr. King of the Ring?
Yo, not for nothing, the way it ended, I'm kind of hoping for Bobby Lashley to win that Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't want Bobby Lashley to win the Rumble.
Yo,
like
my dream, bro. My dream has always been Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. And tonight they teased that, man.
Right.
They teased it. Come on. Like, we need something like that, man. We need that.
I mean, it's got to be better than what it would have been like 2 years ago.
Right.
That's true.
I mean, the thing about it is that both of them can go. Yeah. So if we get Brock versus Bobby, it's still going to be a really good match because, Bobby Lashley is really fast for a big guy, So I can definitely see that, being a really good match going in, even if Bobby was to win to win the Rumble, and especially the way the roster is now, is very thin.
Yeah.
We freaking got Johnny Knoxville in the goddamn Royal Rumble. Thank God I'm not even going to this, because if I had to spend money and see this, this one surprise entry going in and then being Johnny Knoxville, fucking shoot myself. But anyway. So we have the next match we had Madcap Moss versus Drew McIntyre. I talked so much shit about this. Everybody did on Twitter and on Instagram, where they were just like, poor Drew McIntyre having to fight Madcap Moss, but they actually put on a really good match. I was impressed. Like,
they did, yeah.
They went back and forth. It wasn't a squash match. I literally thought it was going to be like a squash match, or somebody was going to interfere and it was going to be a bullshit finish. But these two guys put on a great show. Drew McIntyre showed that he could, be a leader in the ring to somebody like, like Moss, and Moss can like continue to dance his way through this match. So what did you think?
I mean, it was good for what it was. Like, it felt like that should have been on Raw, but shout out to his suspenders. No matter how much they tried, them shits did not fall off, bro.
He had the Steve Urkel edition fucking suspenders, because that shit was strong.
He need the IRS ones, because the front would have flipped off, but them shits did not want to come off at all after that shit.
Oh my God, Mike, what did you think?
Yeah, Riddick Moss is not a bad wrestler. He's in a terrible gimmick storyline, but look, if you put him in another singles thing, he would just end up buried on the roster. So like, he's probably not upset at all where he's at right now. He's on TV every week with Baron Corbin. So as bad as it might be, like, looking at it, I mean, they're on TV every week. They're on every pay-per-view basically. So, right. And he put on a good match, and now it's going to lead into whatever they're going to do with Corbin and Drew, I guess. But yeah, I think it looks worse on Drew than anybody, but it's probably eventually leading into a Drew Roman match at some point.
Now, later on in the show, it showed that Drew McIntyre does get attacked by Happy Corbin and Riddick and Moss. So it looks like the storyline is going to continue. Looks like it will continue into the Rumble, which I really thought that they would maybe break this team up during the Rumble, and maybe have Moss go and eliminate Corbin, or Corbin eliminating Madcap Moss. But it looks like these two are still going to be a team. Are we going to end up seeing a rematch tomorrow between these two?
I mean, you don't have a lot of, after the most recent draft, everybody's on Raw, so there's not a lot of star power on SmackDown. So I wouldn't be surprised if you don't get Moss and Corbin in the chamber. And then that's where they'll have to either fight each other, or somebody will cost somebody part of that match.
Right.
They're still doing the chamber this year?
I think so. I think they are.
It showed up in like towards the end of the show when they were flipping through all the pay-per-views. It said Elimination Chamber. I didn't think they were. I thought it was going away as a standalone, but maybe not.
Man, I like the Elimination Chamber.
I'm hoping that they get rid of Money in the Bank and just bring it back. Just bring it back to WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
maybe hopefully this year, with them trying to use it as a stadium event. they'll get it through their minds like, okay, maybe we need to like X this out and say to ourselves like, let's move on. All right, next match we had the Street Profits versus RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles. I thought this will be the end of RK Bro. It doesn't look that way. Once again, WWE has shitted on the Street Profits. I have no one. And then I sent out a tweet and I tagged Mike in it and I said, if the Amigos get in the ring tonight, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm just gonna stop going on Twitter for the night, and that would have been it. And sure enough, Mike didn't. What's the crazy thing is that Mike didn't even hit me and said, "Hey, go to bed. Good night." It was somebody else that read the tweet and was like, "All right, Kenny, go to bed. It's time to go to sleep," because the Amigos came out with RK Bro. Listen, I like the Amigos. Some of their music. I thought that WWE was going to use them like the way they normally use like their musical talent, and maybe just sing a song, maybe entertain us a little bit, especially with a lot of the roster not being on the card this tonight. So I said, we're going to get a concert from the Amigos for a little bit just to like stretch out the show a little bit. But no, we end up getting them being ringside, sitting down in their own personal chairs, watching the match, and then getting in the ring with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. Guys, what did you think? Mike, I'm gonna start with you and then go to Toe.
I mean, it's sports entertainment. You're in their hometown. Like, if you can get a group like that that's so well known, they're gonna do it. But yeah, I'd rather them have cost Orton and Riddle the belts and turned on them and helped Street Profits. But
right.
I didn't care about this match because I haven't been impressed with the Street Profits lately. I don't like Riddle. Orton, I feel like eventually we're going to get him back in the singles run, but it's just something different for his career. But yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from, but at the end of the day, they're just trying to get the crowd excited for what's going on for a match that is two face tag teams. And then at the end of the match, they all like hug it out in the ring. Like, Street Profits just need to change their attitude. Like,
yeah, that was so weird to have them all in the ring.
Oh, we lost, but it's cool.
Putting up the day one sign and just like saying to themselves like, "Hey, like we're all friends." Like, no, like seriously, like, bro, like you guys just lost the tag team titles. Like, there should be maybe like a heel turn or something like that. So,
nah, I completely agree with you. First off, am I the only one that was thinking the fuck are the Amigos doing coming out with Randy Orton and Matt Riddle?
I thought so too, but then I looked on Twitter and Instagram, and the Amigos have been Randy Orton fans for forever. So there was pictures of them before they were like before they became high, really big rappers or whatever. Like, they will go to WWE shows in Atlanta and always take pictures of Randy Orton because Randy Orton loves rap music. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he's a really big rap fan. Like,
I did not know that at all.
No. Randy Orton is a big rap fan, and he loves rap music, especially like down south music. So all these rappers know who Randy Orton is because he goes to their shows.
Oh shit! Okay.
So
that's a surprise to me.
So he's been to like Amigos shows in Atlanta and shit like that. It's fucking crazy. Like, I don't.
Orton's from St. Louis. I could see him listening to some Nelly or something.
Okay, I hear you. But I mean, the match was okay.
Yeah.
But it's like every time Randy Orton gets in the ring, it's like you got the most unstoppable wrestler in the world. It just seems so unfair that he's wrestling these two fucking guys when he gets in the ring. It could be a 2-on-1 handicap match the way he wrestles. He doesn't even need Riddle.
Right. You know what I think it is, because he said it on the Broken Skull sessions when he was on there. Like, I think he's just having fun.
Oh yeah, this is like that. Yeah. It's not the end of his career, but it's like he's at that like that peak where it's all down from here. Like, I'm just gonna have fun. I'll probably get one more title reign, maybe, or one more shot at the belt. But for now, I'm just having fun with like the younger talent. He's still in great shape. He can still wrestle, and it's like the goofy stuff with Riddle, but eventually, like in just a blink of an eye, he's going to turn on him. Like we're going to get that Hill Orton again.
Yeah,
I thought the Street Profits were gonna jump him after the match.
You know what? I thought so too, especially with the way everything ended, and you have like the Amigos there and stuff like that, and that would have been perfect for the Street Profits to turn heel and go after RK Bro, especially if Randy Orton is going to protect the Amigos from them getting hurt. That's an easy layup for Vince, but. Maybe Vince is not there. I don't know. That's an easy layup for Nick Khan to
they'll do that they could do on Raw like tomorrow night because they'll just let's have a rematch and then Migos won't be there. It won't be in Atlanta. And then they can turn on them. Yeah,
that we're gonna end up getting more rematches tomorrow from this pay-per-view. Yeah.
And especially the way the Street Profits were acting while they were wrestling. My man's doing the Harlem Shake. Like, and then he does the fucking lean with a rock with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, all right, my man, he's doing his thing. All right, let's jump him at the end of the match. What happened?
Exactly, and they didn't do none of that, which is very disappointing. But like even Mike said, like we're gonna end up getting these guys once again tomorrow, and maybe hopefully. We might end up getting new tag team champs, or we're going to get that heel turn from the Street Profits that we're looking for.
I hear you. But the way that, I don't know if they were trying to do this because did Montez Ford test positive for COVID a couple weeks ago?
No, I think it was Belair because she wasn't on the show.
Oh, so he had a quarantine?
Tonight. Yeah. So like he was away from her for a while. So she hasn't been seen at all. Like I literally thought, because they didn't say whether or not she tested positive for COVID. I literally thought maybe she was just going to be on quarantine for a while leading into day one. And she was going to end up having another match with Doudrop. That was another person who wasn't even on the card at all either. So like I said, half the freaking roster that you guys use normally on a Monday, they were all home.
Well, and is that on purpose? Like as many people that had to miss last week, are they like, if you're not on the show tonight, no reason to even have you there? Like,
right.
All the, like, you didn't need them on the pre-show. You didn't need them on the, whatever it is, the bump or whatever they do beforehand. Like, might as well not take the risk because you can't afford to go into a pay-per-view in 4 weeks that requires a minimum of 60 people and not be able to fill a roster. So.
Yeah, that's true. Next match on the card, we had the A-lister, Lay's favorite superstar, The Miz versus Edge, Brood Edge this time around. It seems like anytime somebody tests Edge's credibility when it comes to being back in the ring, he brings out the Brood side of him, which is always great to see. I just wish that if they're going to do the whole bloodbath thing, they will actually use red paint instead of black. I don't understand the reason why they won't use red paint. I mean, if we can see somebody, have a bloody mess, especially in AEW where they had a street fight just the other night and we just saw, a bloody face and then Rich Holland with a bloody nose and, the list can go on and on. I think you could give us a little bit of fake blood from there. Am I right or am I wrong here?
You're right. I do not know why they're using black instead of red. I don't know.
Yeah, no answer on that one. Like, it doesn't look better or anything like that, especially on white. That red would have, I think, stood out better. But whatever. Like, you're trying to bring this character back, but it's like a mix. It's never like full-fledged Brood. But I like the look Edge had tonight, like the pants and stuff like that. Obviously. Everybody screaming for a figure form of that. So
that's definitely going to be a figure. I mean, a lot of the outfits that we've seen tonight, most likely is going to end up being some type of action figure or either a basic or an elite going into this year. So, hopefully we'll get to see all that. This match to me was okay. I didn't really think that it was, it was needed. Maybe they could have put this out as a second match on the card. We all had a feeling like Beth Phoenix was going to end up coming out tonight, being that they were so close to home.
Yeah, we knew what the build was for. So.
Right. So it looks like we're gonna end up getting Beth Phoenix and Edge versus The Miz and Maryse. This would be her first match back, right? Like she's been, because I don't think she's done any matches. The two times she's left.
Yeah, Beth hadn't done anything, I think, since the Rumble, maybe, that she was in.
And then Maryse hasn't done anything since the John Cena Nikki Bella match, right?
Didn't she have a brief run with Natalya, like a tag team? Like,
that's Beth Phoenix, yeah. So Beth Phoenix and Natalya, yeah. But I think Maryse hasn't done anything since the Nikki Bella and John Cena storyline. And that was like, whew.
Which is basically the same storyline as this, kind of, but
yeah,
that's what Miz should have won this tonight, and then
he should have,
and then you could have had Beth show up tomorrow night, and then set up for this tag match, because obviously they're going to put, well, you would think they'd put them over, but now that Edge won this one, I don't know, maybe Miz and Maryse win, whatever. Like it's dumb fun. It's just a way to get extra people involved, and it's probably part of Edge going, hey, like, my career's almost over. I want to have a match with my wife involved. Sure, why not?
Pro Wrestling Podcast was like, Beth Phoenix was at NXT 2.0 wedding. She was the person who officiated the wedding. And just thinking about that now, like WWE dropped the ball on this one by having Eric Bischoff on there. I mean, you could have kept them on to do the officiating, turn the lights down. Edge comes out as the Brood Edge to interrupt the wedding, and then who stands there instead of Eric Bischoff but Beth Phoenix. That would have been great too.
That would involve long-term storytelling, and people, we would have to believe people still watch NXT and Raw at the same time.
Right. Because I mean, if you introducing Beth Phoenix back again now, and Rumble is on the 29th, so you have a couple of Monday nights now to build the storyline between the four. They're going to have to do something. Somebody in creative has to come together and say, like, this is what we have in mind, But besides that, like I said, this match was okay. I was really glad for it to end. I was just waiting for Beth Phoenix to finally show up. I think production was probably falling asleep just like I was, because Beth Phoenix stood there for 3 minutes before they panned the camera to her, and then they threw her music on for no apparent reason. Yeah. Like we already saw her. Yeah. She was already there. And then you put her music on. It made no sense.
Didn't need funny. The music.
It's funny, you see the crowd on the hard camera like looking down the aisle. I thought there was a fight. Yeah. And then they start cheering, and I'm like, nah, there's somebody down there.
Yeah. Miz's reaction, and then Maryse took a while to turn around, but unless it was just because this is a look we've never seen from Beth. And they're like, oh, maybe we need to put Beth's name on the screen and her music for people to realize who it is.
Yeah, because but the thing about it is, my son is 9 and he was like, oh, it's Beth Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then he even said the same thing. He was like, why are they playing her music now when she's already halfway down the ring? And I was like, Pop, I have no idea. If a 9-year-old can figure this out, I can only imagine the guys that are sitting in the back, who's about 50, 60 years old, maybe, because, Vince loves to keep the older guys around that say yes all the time. You guys have maybe figure this out a little bit. But, Edge wins. We get Beth Phoenix back. We're setting up for Rumble, most likely, to have these 4 step into the ring and settle this feud. And then I don't know what's going to happen to Maryse. She's going to end up going back to doing Miz and Mrs. And the Miz is probably going to end up trying to challenge for another title. I would have maybe say go to SmackDown and try and get the IC title back again, because that's pretty much the only title he can get at this point.
If they ever defend it.
That's another.
Sami Zayn is the number 1 contender.
And he wasn't even on this pay-per-view either.
Yeah, what's his face? The announcer. What's it? Not Michael Cole. The other one.
Pat McAfee.
Yes, Pat McAfee said it during the kickoff show. He's like, and Sami Zayn's getting his title shot tonight, and Michael's not tonight. He's like, oh fuck, you think I watched the show? That would have been an awesome time to have your secondary title defended. I don't know.
That's another thing too. We had no Damian Priest. See, like now, as we're talking about this and we're going over this pay per view, like there were so many people. We had the Dirty Dogs. There wasn't on the pay per view. We didn't have the U.S. title on the pay per view. We didn't have the IC title on the pay per view. Charlotte wasn't on the pay per view. Did everybody get COVID all at the same time, or they just said fuck it? Like
we had Madcap Moss, so that was a win for us. Yeah, that's out there. And we had the Amigos too, yo.
I'm telling you, they were just like, if you don't need to be there, they didn't want you there tonight.
Exactly.
But they could have added matches, especially last minute losing Roman. But yeah, I mean, have you been to Atlanta? It sucks. Like, there's no reason to go.
I mean, I haven't been to Atlanta. I've heard some strip clubs are really good out in Atlanta.
Sure. May
have to go. I've never been to a strip club in a day of my life, but maybe I might go if I go to Atlanta.
I've been to a few, and I got a horror story, but that's for another show.
We'll say that for another show. Yeah. Oh my God! Next match we had on here was for the Raw Women's Championship. We had, hopefully this match will come to a close. This feud that they had, we had Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. I thought that the two, gave us a really good match. They were going back and forth with each other. I thought Liv Morgan looked really good. It was a couple of points where I said to myself, Liv Morgan most likely is going to be the new Raw Women's Champion. But at the end, Becky Lynch retains her title, and she is still your Raw Women's Champion. Toe, what did you think of this match? And then I'll kick it off to Mike.
I think this match was good. It was just as good as the first time they wrestled on Raw. And it was one of the few matches tonight that actually had a story that they were trying to tell during the match. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone knows I'm not the biggest Becky Lynch fan in the world, but she had a good match with Liv Morgan today. And I was on some, are they going to give the title to Liv Morgan? A couple times. But they solidified that, Liv, you had two good opportunities. You lost clean this time. Like, you had to win the Royal Rumble to get another shot. In my eyes, that's just me. But you know how WWE is. If you show up and call somebody a bitch, you get a title shot.
Yeah, I mean, she held her own in the match. I mean, obviously, when you're in there with somebody like Sasha or Becky or Bayley or Charlotte, like, they're going to carry you, and the match is going to look better than it probably is. So obviously when she fights some lesser talent, it's not going to look as good. But I mean, Liv has grown a lot in this last year. But yeah, like Toe said, unless she wins something like the Rumble, there's no reason she should be fighting for the title again. I'm sure if there's a women's chamber, she'll be in that. But yeah, if you're not putting the belt on her here, she's back. She's back to, I don't know, fighting Dewdrop, or I don't know who else is on the roster anymore.
This is her second time getting a title opportunity against Becky Lynch. Do we give her a third opportunity, or do we stick her in the Rumble and let her freaking Rocky Balboa her way to a championship and maybe getting that WrestleMania moment where she actually wins the title in Dallas?
I say stick her in the Rumble.
I mean, you put her in the Rumble. I don't see her winning it. Like, that's your time if you're going to bring back a Bayley or somebody like that back to the roster, Asuka, people like that. Like, as these people come back, like, she's going to get dropped down the roster. This is probably part of why Toni Storm is out, because she knew she was about to lose a spot. All these women are going to come back. Right.
I mean, and we'll get into Toni Storm after this next match here. Because I do wonder about like what led to Toni Storm just leaving. After having being in a triple threat match at a house show between Banks and Flair, and then just saying fuck it, I don't want to be here anymore, and I'm gonna go home, like without even telling anybody anything. But it was our last match of the night was supposed to be a fatal 4-way. But ended up turning into a 5-way dance. And that was for the WWE Championship, where Big E was defending his title against Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and now Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar needed an opponent since Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID, and he said,
My bad, but that was
no. So what did you guys think of this?
It wasn't a very long match, but like for what it was fast paced. Everyone kind of got their shots in and stuff like that. I mean, Lashley having Brock in the full Nelson, or I don't know what the hell the name of it is.
Hurt Lock.
Hurt Lock. There you go. Like hitting that. He's the only one that didn't take the F5 in the match. So, I mean, obviously people are wanting this Brock and Bobby match. So we're probably going to get it at some point. I don't know if we stretch it all of our way to Mania or not. But I could see him winning the Rumble. But at this point, he should be the next contender. But he's going to get some kind of rematch at some point. But yeah, I mean, for what it was, and probably having to throw it together kind of last minute. But it makes you really think, like, was Brock going to win the belt from Roman tonight? Who was going to win this match if Brock wasn't in it? And do you just walk up to E and do the same thing you did to Kofi, and you're like, sorry, you're dropping the belt to our part-timer that makes more money than everybody?
Yep.
And I'm a Brock fan. I like Brock, but it's just like when these things happen and you're like, well, something weird's going to happen. They can't let Brock win the belt just randomly tonight. No, they did. Now he's on Raw. What does this do for the Roman storyline? What does this do for the Paul Heyman storyline? So
yeah, that's another guy who I thought maybe, Paul Heyman will come out with Brock tonight, and obviously he didn't. So they're going to keep that, I guess that part of the storyline still under wraps until, Roman could come back. But now that Brock Lesnar is the champion on Monday Night Raw, where does that leave Roman Reigns? Who is going to be the next person to challenge Roman for the Universal title? Somebody needs to step in now into this picture for a Smackdown and give Roman something to do. Being that these were like 5 guys in the ring, especially 5 big guys in the ring, as Big E likes to say, a whole bunch of guys bumping meat. I thought this match was really clean. I thought this match was like, it was quick. I know me and Toe talked about this off air. We was like, this was really fast because I really didn't expect for this, pay-per-view to end so early. Yeah. That's why I hit you guys up and I was like, we're still going to go at an 11. And it was like 10:45 when this match is over. And I was just like, wow, okay. But I thought that Seth Rollins and, Kevin Owens working together, I thought it was smart, for them to do so, especially, given the fact that you have, Bobby and Brock and Big E in this match. I want to see more. I want to see what's going to happen next. I want to see what's going to happen on Monday, or, we didn't get Paul Heyman tonight. Maybe we can get them tomorrow, coming in with Brock Lesnar. We could get MVP trying to get, Bobby Lashley a title shot at the Rumble. We could get, Big E entering the Royal Rumble, because, the way they do creative now in WWE, they might not even give him a title shot off the bat. I mean, they might even give him a rematch.
That's true, yeah. I mean, yeah, this has to be the fastest 5-way we've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it works with the way that they screwed over Kofi.
Right.
So they did him in 7 seconds. They do Big E in 7 minutes? Something like that.
Something. But Big E did look. The thing about it is between the difference. Yeah, the difference between Big E losing the title and Kofi Kingston losing the title. It wasn't like a ring the bell and a quick squash match between the two. Like we actually seen like when Big E had the opportunity to go 1-on-1 with Brock Lesnar, he knocked him out of the ring. He almost gave him the big ending. He held his own throughout the match, and now he comes in and he loses. He loses clean. It wasn't like somebody hit him from behind and Brock Lesnar came and hit him with an F5. Like he lost in a good way, and I wasn't mad at it. I was mad at the fact that Big E lost because I wanted him to win. But I am hoping that they put Big E in the Royal Rumble and he wins this, or gives him a title shot at the Royal Rumble where we can actually get a good match between the two. And then just let Bobby Lashley win the Rumble, and then we can get Brock versus Bobby at Mania.
I would love that.
It's not even that he lost. It's that or that Brock won. It's that Big E took the pinfall. That was kind of the surprising, but I guess it makes it so you don't have this whole, well, I never got pinned, I didn't lose the belt type thing. It does kind of work out for like my hopes for the Rumble. I don't know if you've listened to the run-in this week, because I was on there with DJ and Tommy. We were talking about Rumble predictions. Now that you have Brock on one show and Roman on another show, this is the perfect time for a new Paul Heyman guy to come in and maybe win the Rumble, and then you can build that story of which guy is he going to go after, and I'm hoping that ends up being Walter. I want Walter to be on the main roster. I want him to be a Paul Heyman guy, and I could see him going with either one of those guys in a Mania like main event type match.
Yeah, because Walter's still doing great work now in NXT UK. He has a match coming up, I think this Tuesday.
And that's the part that hurts, is they announced him for NXT this week, and I'm like, he hasn't been on TV in forever outside of that Cesaro tour they did in the UK. I was like, man, you could bring him into the main roster now, because there's been all this talk that he's finally moving to the States and gonna join full time, but that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, with the Rumble coming up in a couple of weeks, I can see them actually using Walter for the Rumble. I mean, because you don't really have too many people on the main roster on both ends. So you're gonna need those NXT people. So I can see Walter, being on there. We're gonna get Breaker with 2Ks on there. We're gonna get
everyone's silent.
We're gonna get Pete. We're gonna get Pete Dunne. We're gonna get we might get Ciampa on here. So it's gonna turn into a freaking 3-brand Royal Rumble where they're definitely gonna split this up.
Yeah, that's okay.
But the way I would do it is I would have Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens versus Brock at the Rumble, and then Big E win the Rumble, and then jump ship and go fight Roman Reigns for the title at WrestleMania, and then have Bobby win Elimination Chamber to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Because you'll have the New Day completed, and if they're gonna keep this shit going with the Bloodline, you have the completed New Day versus the completed Bloodline. And then that is a WrestleMania match, one that we never thought we'd see, Roman Reigns versus Big E.
Right.
It's brand new, and there's hopes that Big E can actually beat Roman Reigns.
Right.
So what do we give this pay-per-view from a score from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being why did I watch this pay-per-view tonight?
Man, I mean, I'm disappointed we didn't get the Roman Brock match, but for what we did get, I still put it in the solid 8s. Like maybe like 8.5. Like, it wasn't perfect by any means, but like matches got time. There wasn't a lot of like flubs and stuff. I feel like they probably had to totally scrap the original Fatal 4-Way when you threw Brock in, and that's probably why it went quicker and was just a bunch of hit your moves, and then Brock gets this pinfall. But I still enjoyed the show overall. And we're not going to get, obviously, like, you only get January 1st on a Saturday or Sunday every few years, so we're not going to get this pay-per-view all the time. So I hope it's something they do going forward.
I mean, we could get this pay-per-view again next year if you think about it, except it won't be on a Saturday. It'll be on a Sunday because New Year's Day will be on a Sunday. So most likely we're going to end up getting this again.
We were talking about the Saturday thing. The Rumble's on a Saturday this year, so we're going to get that too.
This isn't a pay-per-view anymore. This is a premiere event.
Yeah, premiere. Sorry.
Oh my god.
They said it so many.
What was that? I didn't get that. I mean, we'll get to Chris's question in a minute, but I did notice at the kickoff they said if you had 2 different versions of Peacock, they were going to go more in depth into the Fatal 5-Way match, and if you didn't, you would get a commercial, which I didn't even get that. It made me question. It made me look at my my account, and I was like, wait a minute, which service do I have? Because I know I pay for Peacock.
Yeah,
but I'm just like
which $5 and a $10 tier, I think.
Yeah,
no, it's a $4 and a $5.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. I remember I was like, you know what? I'm fancy. I'll pay the extra $1.
See, I remember when it first switched over, and everybody was like, "Oh, I was paying $10 for the network, and now it goes to this, and it's all included. But then there was like a deal if you signed up for so many months or whatever. But I mean, it's smart. How many, if they can get $1 out of every person to not get some kind of weird commercial stuff like that. But I mean, for the last few years with the network, we really didn't have pay-per-view anymore. You didn't pay $30 a show like we used to. So it's weird that they've taken this long to finally call it a premiere event or give it some kind of alternate name.
Okay, so hopefully we'll get this premiere show again next year, but this time will be on a Sunday. I want to touch base on a couple of things here. Yesterday we all spoke off air, through group chats and stuff like that. Everybody had their own different opinions. I wanted to get your guys' opinions here. Essentially, we have like a 3-round table here of just like different, races here. So we all can't say like, oh, you guys are all, African American or Hispanic or, whatever, and giving your opinion on one thing. And that was Tony Khan ending the year by everybody on Twitter and Instagram hating his guts because he decided to be butthurt and say that Big Swole, the reason why Big Swole's contract ended and he didn't want to re-sign her is because her in-ring sucked. After the fact that you just praised this female athlete that you had on your roster so big when she decided not to sign with you guys, and then she voiced her opinion on something and everybody just went crazy. Well, he went crazy and felt some type of way, sent out his tweet, which sent out a million other tweets where I was at my sister-in-law's house when this happened and I was reading it and I went on Twitter and I said a couple of things and I was drinking at the time. So a lot of stuff, I don't remember what I said, you know what I mean? But what did you guys think of the tweet itself? I'll start off with Mike and then I'll shoot it over to Toe.
I mean, it's the era we live in. Like, fucking everybody has to be a keyboard warrior and can't not say anything. Like, you're fucking Tony Khan. Like, you're in charge of this company. Don't fucking say anything. Like, just shut up. Like, I personally, like, the few matches of Swole I saw, like, she has a great look and stuff, but a lot of times, yes, she would botch moves. But hell, every girl on that roster has. Like, no one is perfect. Even some of the guys in that company, no one's perfect. And now that she's out, so it's like the moment she blames it on whatever, or she voices her opinion, he had to come back and say something like, "Oh, I got to defend myself. Like, I can't have people mad at me and stuff like that." So, yeah, just dumb. And then everyone, of course, has to have an opinion, has to say something about it, and it just starts a whole thing. So, and it sucks for her because it'll. What was the guy? There was a guy a couple of years ago. They got cut from NXT, maybe. That I feel like something really similar happened.
You talking about Ak? He kind of felt like, he ended up leaving because he said that WWE was being racist to him, and he wasn't getting his fair share. And then they came up. This is the time when like NXT was premiering on the USA Network, and they used his name, but the way they made the graphic look like it was like red lips with teeth, but it looked like his name. You remember the way they did it?
Blackface,
like on a shirt or something.
I forgot the name that they used back in NXT for him.
Was it Smiles or some shit?
No, it was, what the fuck was his name? I know once I'm gonna remember his name when we get off air. I know this, and I hate that this is happening now.
And it's not I don't want to say it's the same thing. Like, other than you're just throwing, like, people saying people are underutilized, and then people want to throw race and stuff like that into it. It just turns it into a whole thing, and then it splits like all your wrestling people, and you got your anti-WWE people and your anti-AEW people, and Tony Khan can do no wrong, and then everybody wants to defend. So I'm hoping like Swole takes the high road on this, and she's not on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram and like having to put up like a video every day and talk shit. Like, she can come out of this as like the bigger person in the end. Chris
helped us out here. He said Jordan Miles was the name he went by in NXT. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
So yeah, I hope this doesn't. And then like some of the talent and stuff, like some of them speaking up, and then some of them kind of being against, and
yeah, because you had Will Hobbs go on there, and backing Tony
Leo
Khan.
Rush,
Yeah, well, Leo Rush,
somebody, and
Leo Rush. We'll get into his comments. A little later, but like, yeah, Will Hobbs was on there, and he praised, AEW and Tony Khan for helping him out, especially like when his mom passed away. They were there to like make sure he was okay, if he needed anything as far as like funeral expenses and stuff like that. The captain was on there as well, praising AEW and like all the stuff that they do. Jade Cargill was on, went on Twitter and praised, a lot of the stuff that Tony Khan has done. And, I feel bad in the situation for Swole, because she is a really great talent. And there are times, just like Mike said, that, she did botch a couple of things, but, and I can't say that it was maybe due to like, her illness as far as like her in-ring, stuff is concerned. But I just think maybe this should have been handled a little bit different.
Well, she doesn't work there anymore. Like, she's gonna have things to say where the people who do still work there, like the Hobbs and Jade Cargill and stuff like that, they're gonna come to defend the company and stuff like that. Like, if they stood up for something or said something, who knows what could happen to them? They don't want to cost themselves a job, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know, like, say what you believe and hope that it doesn't come back on you, but it's still shitty. Like, the whole thing turned into more than it probably needed to be, but sometimes if you don't say anything, it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. My thing was, I saw your tweet and I was like, yo, what the fuck happened now? And then I see Khan's tweet about that she wasn't good enough. I mean, she was good enough during the pandemic to be with Britt Baker.
Right.
And that, they had a high profile program with Britt Baker. Yep. They had that match in the dentist's office. So I don't see that whole she wasn't good enough to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was there. And from what I understand, she stopped wrestling because she was sick. It wasn't because, she sucks. No, it stopped wrestling because she was sick. She had a sickness. And then she just wound up being on other shows, and she wasn't really advertised on AEW, I think on Dark or some shit like that.
Yeah. But then, I didn't even know she was sick, but it seems like
that
stuff doesn't come out. Like AEW, like you never hear why someone's not on TV.
I think she has a disease, right? Yeah. It's I don't know what it is, but it's something she dealt with her whole life, and I think it flared up or something like that, and that's why she left. It
gives you like body aches and stuff like that, so it's hard for you to like move.
Was
like,
it MS?
Something like that, where you can't really move around as much. So, and there were times where even when she did when she said she was going to retire from AEW and she wasn't going to be a part of AEW anymore, where she said she was just like, when she did that match, the weekend of All Out, when she did the 3 falls match, she was in a lot of pain. Like, she was taking painkillers just to
Crohn's disease.
Yeah, she was in a lot of pain just to get through those, through each one of those matches. So I was just like, and then you go ahead and you praise her, on media calls and on Twitter and all this other stuff. And now she says one little thing, she voices her opinion, and you just shit on her. And this is not the first time that Tony Khan has done something like this.
But that's Tony Khan being this young, do you want to call him a promoter? But like this younger guy who lives in this era where you can get online and immediately talk to fans and stuff like that. Like, Vince McMahon is not getting on Twitter and being like, here's why I had Brock Lesnar beat.
Yep.
You know what it is? Like, I think Khan's trying to be like Dana White. Because he did make mention to Dana White saying controversial shit and people loving him for it. And I think he thinks if he becomes popular, then AEW becomes popular even more. But I want to get, what was the thing that Swole said? Is there no diversity in management in AEW or just in the main event for AEW?
I'm sorry, go Mike.
No, I don't know. Like, if it's the people who have the belts, is it?
I mean, she said, and like, not going like verbatim of the words that she said, I'll summarize a lot of the stuff that she said. She talked about her daughter. She said that her daughter used to watch WWE programming all the time, and now she barely watches WWE because, you know, like only like when her dad is on, she'll watch WWE, right? But she noticed it when she was watching like AEW. She turned to her mom and was just like, I don't see anybody that looks like me. You know, meaning like, you know, like the way a lot of young girls now go on Smackdown or Raw and they see Bianca Belair and they can see themselves as Bianca Belair. Right. You know what I mean? You can see maybe like these younger girls say like, I can see myself as like Liv Morgan. You know, she really wasn't seeing that in AEW. So that was like a big reason for her as saying like, okay, you're not really representing us like the way like you should. You know, AEW does have a lot of different diversity when it comes to their roster because they have from, you know, transgender to, you know, straight up gay and lesbian LGBTQ athletes on here. You have, you know, Hispanics, you have African Americans, you have Indian, you have a big range of different cultures in AEW. But, you know, the thing about it is like, how are you actually using these people to represent you? You know, this is what I think is where she was coming from, you know, because AEW does do a lot of work. You know, I can't praise AEW on that. They do a lot of work for the community wherever they go. But it's just when it comes to talent, I don't really see it as much. Like, when was the last time we seen Will Hobbs do anything? Besides, I know he praised AEW, but when was the last time we actually seen Will Hobbs do anything really major at all? Scorpio Sky has been with Ethan Page for God knows how many months, and we haven't really seen him do anything. To, you know, maybe a couple of, you know, mixed tag matches here and there, but anything single wise, we haven't seen that. You know, Sammy Guevara, we thought that he was gonna have a really good run with the TNT title. He loses to Cody. You know, I said it before, and I'll keep saying it again. I think the only reason why the Lucha Bros won the tag team titles is because the Young Bucks were hurt and they needed somebody to hold the belt. So now why not give it to the Lucha Bros? Because they will be the next one. You don't want to get to FTR again and let them do anything with it. So it's like, you know, and then you have Thunder Rosa that eventually she's gonna get that, you know, a bigger push, and she's gonna do something there. You know, Pro Wrestling Podcast says Dante Martin is really over with the crowd. He's getting really over, but guess who's outshining Dante Martin right now? Hook is.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's, I said the same thing on the Knucklehead Podcast a couple of weeks ago. You know, how the WWE, they get African American champions now don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? But and I see where you're coming from with AEW, because Hobbs, all I see him really do is put over Orange Cassidy. You know, he put over Orange Cassidy for that tournament for Full Gear, and he really hasn't been doing anything. Dante, yo, I mean, my man is whiter than fucking. I mean, he's black, but let's just get, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about skin color. You know what I'm saying?
He's lighter than all of us put together. Put it that way.
But not you know, that aside, I'm just saying he's a hot commodity because he can fly, but in all honesty, they're not really doing nothing with him but showcasing him. He's not getting title matches. Jay Lethal had one match since he's been there against Sammy Guevara, and like you said, Sammy Guevara got put over. But for the women, at least, name an African American woman that can hang with Thunder Rosa.
Not too many.
In the AEW roster.
Not too many.
You know what I'm saying? So if we're gonna just talk about, like, to be fair, to play devil's advocate, not everything is racist, but just in all honesty, they're pushing Jade Carwell a lot just because of her size, and I can understand why Big Swole's daughters, like, that don't look like me because she had no aspirations to be big and strong with all those muscles. But Red Velvet, she's still pretty green. Like, she had her shot against Britt Baker, but I can't see her holding that title.
Nope.
And as you know, they had two Asian women held the AEW championship. If you want to talk about diversity, AEW is doing a lot more diversity than the WWE.
That is true.
But if you want to talk about just, you know, speaking out for the African American culture, I can see that that's where the argument is, because Leo Rush made that point on one of the tweets that Gigi retweeted. It's like, it was one of those things like you don't have anybody to to show you how to represent us,
Mhm.
which I get. You know what I'm saying? But there are a lot of mixed, diversity in AEW. Not there's only one in the top right now with the champions, with the world champion and the TBS champion. But what I'm trying to say is that it's like it's very soon for a company that's just been out for 2 years that doesn't have that deep of a roster, at least for the women's division, to be talking about diversity. Like he took what he could get, and he's doing the best he can with it. I don't agree with him saying that she was whack, and that's why we kicked her out. Because he should have just been like, "Yo, listen, she chose not to sign with us, and you know what? If she don't want to be here, I granted her her release, or I didn't sign her back. And if she wants to come back, she's more than welcome to. Be an adult and speak and be cordial. You don't need to put this shit out in Twitter. But then."
And what was bad about it now is like I feel bad for Jay Cargill and Ruby Riott, because now they're going into this match and you really don't know what is the actual meaning behind them, the person winning the title. Because if you give it to Jay Cargill, it's everybody's gonna be like, well, he only did it because of the backlash that happened over the weekend.
Yep.
If you give it to Ruby Riott now, everyone's going to go on Twitter and say, you see, this is what I'm talking about. This is the reason why, Tony Khan doesn't like, African Americans or whatever they're going to end up saying on freaking Twitter, because Twitter was live last night. As much as I was sitting there, I was like, I went on Twitter and there was like at least maybe like, because like me and Dave, we go on Spaces on Twitter, and there was like maybe like six Spaces all dedicated to Tony Khan. Like, it was ridiculous. Or somebody was retweeting something or tweeting whatever the case may be. So like, going into this TBS match now for the new year, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do to spin this.
Yeah, I mean, the whole time going into this tournament, I just assumed Jade was winning it anyways.
Yeah, I thought so too. That was my prediction for everything. Was like she was going to win the whole thing. But
Jade is along the same lines as like Swole. Like, she has a great look, but I've never been impressed with her in the ring. Like, she has a presence, and if she hits the right moves, but a lot of times it's sloppy. She's green, stuff like that, which is probably why they have the secondary title, so that she can carry it and fight some of these other girls. Why Britt Baker is probably going to hold that main title for most of this year, probably.
Yeah.
And just so that they only put their higher talent and stuff like that. But yeah, nothing seems to divide wrestling fans more than somebody throws race in it and it just upsets everybody. And I get it, but at the same time, like, it sucks because it pisses so many people off, and it gives everybody a reasoning behind everything. Like it doesn't have to be why this person won a belt or this person, but like you said, we're going into this TBS title match, and now everybody, when it's over, is going to say this is why they won, not because they're the better wrestler or they're better fit to have this title.
Yeah.
So last question I'll ask you guys before we wrap up here. So should Tony Khan have somebody to handle his Twitter? Because at this point, to me, I feel like he's turning into Donald Trump when it comes to somebody pissing him off and him going strictly on Twitter and just saying some, and just like, I have to tweet something about this. Or do we just let Tony talk his shit and see what happens next?
I don't want to be the guy to tell somebody not to be who they are. But when you have all that money and you're the head of a organization that can make change in any kind of way, think twice before you say shit. You know what I'm saying?
Do you remember? It's been years when Herm Edwards, he used to be the Jets coach. He was on ESPN and he said, "Don't press send.
Yeah,
like, type it out as much as you want." Put it in your drafts, delete it, whatever. Don't fucking press send. He had to know, like, he was going to cause an issue by.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Because no matter what he said, it was gonna come back on him. Like,
shit, there are times I send out a tweet or a thing on Instagram story, and I have my boy look at it like, look at this real quick. Nobody's gonna look at it, but look at this real quick. It's cool. All right, cool. Let me send it out. You know?
Yeah, and that's it for like us. Maybe a handful of people see it, and we have time to delete it. No one screenshot it. The moment Tony Khan presses something, 1 million people probably saw it in less than an hour, and it's out there. Like, you can't go back on it. Like,
because when something's bothering me, I'm either sending it to Toe and be like, "You see this shit," and I'll type out everything that I feel, or I'll send it to like Mike and like the other guys and stuff like that, and I'll be like, "You see this bullshit?" But like, you know, unless I'm drinking, then I'll send it off, and I'll be like, "I fuck it," like I did last night. I was going off, but yeah, man, I don't know. We got to see what happens now with Dynamite. You know, they are premiering this Wednesday on TBS, so we'll see a little bit more. But we've been on here for like over an hour, so I'm gonna let you guys go from here. Thank you for joining in, and everybody else that joined in to this recap show of day one. We talked about day one. We talked a little bit of Tony Khan and Big Swole. We'll talk a little bit more on Wednesday when I'll jump on again, and we can have more conversations about the rest of the week in wrestling. Monday, which is, I was about to say tomorrow because my mind is all over the place, but on Monday, me and Toe, we return back with the Monday Night Raw watch alongs. You can definitely catch Mike over on the Run In podcast because he's like a regular there as well. At this point, I have no idea if I have a job with them anymore, unless they, you know, they're going to give me my papers soon enough and just, you know, send me on my way, because they haven't been doing any corrections, which I did listen to the show this week, and he said no Kenny's corrections. And there was no corrections because you guys had 2 interviews. Okay. And you had an award show. So there was nothing to correct at all. You know, I do Kenny's corrections on another podcast because Toe's looking at me like, what the fuck is that? Right. So I do corrections on another podcast called the Run In Pod, right? Where I correct them on a lot of the stuff that they say wrong. And then they'll talk about it the next week. So I'm almost about to lose my job because I haven't sent anything in the last like 2 weeks. So, but plugging in some more stuff here. See the Pro Wrestling Podcast Tuesday. He has, in my opinion, where he's going to have the Knuckleheads on there as well. Tyson is plugging in his time in here. He's going to be with us every Monday like he normally is, and that is it, right? Mike, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm glad we got a pretty good show. Like you said, it's Saturday, so we have all day tomorrow to be lazy and watch football, and we'll see what happens on Monday. And I'll be checking in with you guys on the live show, and then we're going to the Rumble, and then the road to WrestleMania is upon us.
Word, you did make a mistake, Kenny.
What's
Tomorrow technically is Monday. Today's Sunday.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right.
Because
we're past midnight. See, Tyson right now goes to say we're 11 minutes after midnight, so tomorrow is Monday. Okay, Tyson. Has Tyson with the corrections here.
You guys on the East Coast today.
That's right. Because Mike's time is still Saturday.
See.
So technically, I'm right. I'm half right here. God, but guys, thank you for tuning in to the recap show with the call up. Thanks to Phil Gentile, the Hot Take Kid, for providing us with a platform here on the Fake Cave. Thanks to the guys to the Run In Podcast. They tried to make an appearance because they used to do the recap shows with us, but Tom is most likely on another hockey trip. DJ is hanging out with his lady now, so they left us. So now it's always me and Mike here. But you can catch them every Thursday on the Run In Podcast on all streaming platforms. You can actually catch them too on the Fake Cave. They have a new Patreon that's coming out. They have different tiers there. So if you go to Instagram, check out their tier system. It's really good. You get a lot of cool stuff, a lot of giveaways every single month and every week. They give you something new. They give you behind the scenes. They give you interviews. Mike does something on there. I am doing stuff on there as well. So it's Phil. It gives you access to the Fake Cave Facebook group, which you can get tons of deals if you're looking on wrestling figures or you're looking for like t-shirts. They pretty much if you have something wrestling related, you're going to be able to find it on the Fit Cave and anything NECA as far as like Ninja Turtles is concerned, or maybe like Ghostbusters. You can find it on there too. So give them a follow. Go on Instagram, type in the Running Pod, subscribe to their Patreon, support these two great guys that take a lot of time out of their day to provide more and more stuff for the IWC community. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, because I'm blowing up on there now too. I have to start doing some more videos on there. No dance videos, just wrestling stuff.
We gotta see you dance, Kenny.
Maybe one time for the new year. I'll give you a dance video. Subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Podcast. He has a lot of good stuff going on there as well. And that is it, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a great night.